something here? Did you bring?
And we're live.
No, but I was thinking that this might be just great.
He's like on the phone.
Hello.
He's right there.
Nice incentive.
We're a little late today.
Hang on.
We're waiting on Rusty.
It's 11. You had a phone call. I didn't realize it was 11 already. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Look at all these Idaho people.
Oh my.
Okay.
It's amazing how many people watch us from Idaho. I feel like only like 5 people live in Idaho, so I think all of you watch us, which is cool.
The entire state.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay. Welcome, Rusty.
Welcome.
Hey, I got good news. Your van should be here in about 15 minutes.
That's
Hey, I've
happy.
got bad news. I've got to leave in about 15 minutes to go sign off on this van.
You coming back?
Hey, they want to know if they have an account at Granger.
Cash.
Okay.
Cash. No.
What's up, guys?
Okay.
This is Life at Springfield Leather. Welcome.
Hey.
So, a little update. How's everything going?
Well, if you are saying everything as in like our new splitting machine, the
Yeah, I was about to
Moscone,
say. Yep.
we are earlobe deep, and we actually are in contact with Italy right now, getting some parts and some things figured out. We've got electricians here right now. We've got Gonzalo with Herman Oak. He's down giving us a hand, getting things set up, and we're hopeful.
Cool.
That's all you can do.
Just hopeful. It's gonna be great.
It's been a very long.
It has, and it's been a challenge. You know, we had some concerns with the city, because we had to bring in a new service, and that new service, from our point of view, look, I need a plug-in on the wall. So it's real simple. I just need a plug-in, and they're like, okay, but what do you need behind the plug-in? Well, I need 440, okay, 3-phase behind the plug-in. Well, then they want a drawing, and I'm like, a drawing of a plug-in? What do you want a drawing of? I don't know how to draw you what you want. So anyway, we had a few misunderstandings, and they're here early.
Oh,
Listen,
oh the van? Oh,
All right. So anyway,
tell them to look at some rocks.
well, the,
it's going well. It's going well.
Well,
Slow but sure.
that's exciting news, and I know that we're anxious to get that thing going. So.
Well, I did want to ask. I was looking over your notes as to what we wanted to talk about, and I know that I'm jumping ahead of you, but I'm also going to be probably stepping out for at least a little bit. What's your favorite thing at Springfield Leather? You wanted us to tell you what our favorite thing at Springfield Leather was, and why. But I sit there and I've been pondering this, all morning. That one question. I got to the rest of it and I'm like, oh well, Kevin's got that. But I don't know what's your favorite thing at Springfield Leather.
My favorite thing at Springfield Leather, as far as products, would be the natural harness.
Okay,
I love
I
that.
can get behind that.
It's beautiful. It's a great leather. You can splits down beautifully. You can make a ton of different products with that. I would say, as far as my favorite thing though, would be to interacting with the customers. I really enjoy hearing what they're doing and hearing what they're making. And when I'm out on retail floor, people always have questions, and so I get to answer those questions and help them with their product. That's really a good part of my day.
Well, and I'll tell you, I can definitely appreciate that, especially Liz and I both, and Kevin obviously, but having worked retail, especially in this business, you can work retail. What was it, CVS or Walgreens? Or something? Yeah.
It's really great helping people find their cosmetics.
You can work retail in a lot of places, but when you work retail with people who are genuine, and that's really what we've got. We've got a customer base that's genuine. So I can definitely appreciate that. You definitely took it to a much deeper thought than I was. I was like, oh, I like that deer mount up there.
I like that thing I bought last year.
Well, I was going to say the deer mount's mine, yeah.
I like Denny. Denny's
All right,
my
that's
favorite
fair.
thing at the store.
Okay.
That's fair.
You're a close second, Kevin, but Denny's probably my favorite thing at the store.
well, Denny's he's a personality. He's nice. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite thing is a citrine geode out there that weighs about 800 pounds and is 3 feet across and polished on the top. And if you were a small person, you could take a bath in it.
It wouldn't be a very comfortable band.
No, it would not. It'd be kind of pokey, but it costs about 10 grand if you want to buy it. And I just think that's a really cool rock.
Kevin's out here trying to make a sale because he got conned in
No,
Tucson
I'm
2
not
years
trying
ago.
to make sale.
We walk up to our favorite Brazilian booth that has all of the citrine and the amethyst, right? And this cute little lady comes up, and it's the daughter of the guy that Kevin's been dealing with for years and years and years. And she says, because Ebenor wasn't there that year, he's been getting older, and he didn't make the trip up from Brazil.
Well, and that
she
started
says,
around COVID, didn't it? So it's been like
Yeah.
a couple of years,
It's
yeah.
been a while.
she walks up and says, Kevin, I've got a rock for you.
Yeah. So she's getting to know you. She's had a couple of years to
It was like 3
Take
days
aim.
that we went back to
yeah.
jog.
She's had a couple of years to
Yeah.
take aim at
Yeah.
Kevin.
And then we left with that citrine. We sure did.
Pretty easy to figure out, really. Well, anyway, that's my favorite thing. And the reason why is because I've been a rock hound for longer than I've been a leather worker. I always liked rocks.
Came out a rock hound.
So anyway, that's it.
Somebody actually found him inside of a geode in Iowa, and they just
Mm.
cracked it
Cracked it
open,
open.
and there he was,
Yeah.
like an egg. Just,
The dinosaur came out.
You guys are
anyway,
weird.
moving right along.
So, we come across a lot of different exotic leathers.
We really do.
What, in your number of years, what's the weirdest thing that you ever come across as far as
It's kind of a toss-up. I had a mouse hide once. That was
What?
mouse hide?
Touche.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a legit tanned one, or like you tanned
No,
it?
this was a tanned mouse hide. Somebody,
Who would?
one
Why?
of my,
What?
a customer I had, and
Painful.
it's like, I forget if it was Michigan or Wisconsin.
We
someplace
didn't
up
say that our customers weren't weird, too. So.
Yeah, they
That's what
sent
makes it so
me.
enjoyable to work with.
They sent me a tanned mouse hide.
They have a tail too?
No, not much. By the time you're done with a mouse, there.
Really? It seems to me like you'd really be able to put some time in.
Now, was it like a New York mouse? Or
Yeah.
like a Chicago mouse? Like, where did it come from?
this
This was like a Missouri mouse.
Yeah.
This skin was smaller than a business card.
That's where is it?
Wow.
Where
Did you almost say that was adorable?
long
What
gone.
is it? I want a mouse
I
hide.
used it to great effectiveness because back in that day, I had an employee that was
Oh,
scared to
no.
death of mice.
Oh.
And
You did. That thing went in the trash.
at the end of the
didn't it?
day, we would count the money in the drawer, and it was her job to
Do we know this
to
person?
go back to the desk and sit there and do the daily report and all this other stuff. And she went back there and was doing this, and I walked up there and said, "Judy, check out this mouse." Oh, word! She flipped out. She flipped out, and she screamed, and she couldn't get out because her chair was stuck, under the desk, and she was just flailing around. Of course, I thought it was pretty funny. So anyway, I got the mouse back, and after a few minutes, I walked up there, and she was giving me the eye, and she had her jacket hung over the back of the chair. So I just slipped it into her because after she did the books, she was going to have to take the bank deposit over to the bank. And I knew she'd wear her coat, and she did.
Evil person.
And I went up to the front of the store, and she come out of the office, with the bank bag. She said, "I'll be back in a few minutes." I said, "Okay." I walked over to the window, and I was looking out.
Watched her run across the window.
No, she didn't. She was just walking about 10 feet into the parking lot. She puts both hands into her coat pockets, and she stopped and kind of felt around. She put freaked out totally. The mouse went somewhere under a.
We haven't seen it since.
Yeah, that's the last I had it.
That's pretty good.
So anyway,
Man,
weird.
before the time of cell phones in your pockets with video
Photographs.
cameras.
yeah,
That's a bummer.
I'll tell you, mine is probably turkey feet
yeah,
Yeah.
the chicken.
and chicken feet, turkey
Yeah,
feet,
okay.
and we've got some
Those are
turkey
fun.
skins on the wall, and they look like miniature
That's what they
ostrich.
are.
Yeah. And so
yeah.
they,
Galapagos.
what he said.
That's what they call them.
And
Sounds
I'll tell you
like
what
fancier than
though,
the turkey.
the turkey foot looks like an ostrich shin in miniature.
Yeah.
Made a beautiful watch band, but that's about it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
do you
that's
think? It
all
probably
they
took
do.
like 4 of them to make a watch band.
They're
You know,
pretty
but
little.
they were beautiful though.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I have gotten into a batch of anteater.
Mhm.
And I gotten into a batch of sea turtle. Now, we did not purchase any of it because obviously that's against the law. But we were in Texas going through a bunch of stuff, and having the opportunity to see it in person
Yeah.
was pretty cool because I've seen,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of knockoffs, especially of anteater, and that's where the pararaku really, to me, resembles
That
because the way
scale
that they
type,
the way that they buffed that scale back. So seeing that in person, that was pretty cool.
Oh,
But,
sure, yeah. Yeah.
didn't take them. No, thank you.
I like
Yeah.
to look at it, but you guys can keep those barrels.
Hey, your van's here.
Oh, you
I
better
gotta
go
go.
take care of it.
All right,
Thanks.
thanks,
a lot.
Rusty.
All right,
Thank
it's been fun.
The reason my van is here is because it wasn't here in the first place. That makes sense, right?
Yes, it does.
So we gave it to, well, we didn't give it. Rusty said he knows a guy in Arkansas that could do the
knows a guy.
paintless dent
Anyways.
repair from hail damage. And we were in Iowa and had some 2-inch hail, and it kind of bonked up on our car a little bit, and it made some dents. And so they took it down there and they fixed it, and now they're bringing it back.
So you're going to see what it's like now.
Well,
We'll see if it's fixed.
for the amount of money
It's a whole
that the
new
insurance company gave him, it ought to be pretty nice and shiny
Yeah.
and smooth. It's my hope anyway. My wife is the one that's really going to appreciate it because it's kind of her car.
Yeah.
She drives the big, nice, shiny, impressive van. I drive the little gray thing that slinks around.
I mean, it still has like a camera that sees all the sides of it.
Yeah.
It's still
It's
a
pretty
nice
fancy.
car. It's fine.
Well, it's okay. It's a 2018. It's old.
Oh,
It's about time that he goes to Toyota to get an oil change, and then he'll come back with a new Camry. That just happens. Like every couple years, he just goes to get an oil change, and he comes back with a new one. Slightly different shade.
Every couple of years.
taupe.
I had it for 5. Do we ever get paid from Casey's for advertising?
No, but we sure give them a lot of money as a store.
Huh?
yeah.
Oh,
Because we all go there, because
Yeah.
it's right there. So everybody goes and gets their pizza for their breakfast, and then their lunch, and then their monsters, and then their beverages. And
okay.
anyways,
So what other intriguing and
Whoa.
in-depth discussions are we having here?
I want to hear Liz's weirdest.
oh, I
That
don't,
would be
I don't know if
Chris.
I can top a mouse.
Oh,
Most exotic leather.
Oh, well,
I mean, his hair has changed. It used to be straight, and now it's curly, and nobody really knows what happened. So that's fun. Chris just used to have straight. You remember Chris
Well, I
with his
do,
straight
yeah.
hair, and now it's a mop of curls.
probably living with you.
I know. Yeah, probably. I'm stressing him out, causing him to curl. The weirdest, most exotic leather.
Well, is this hard or what?
I don't know if I can, like, when Pararaku first came out, that was pretty cool, and we got some really big panels, and I was just like, that was a fish in the water somewhere.
is that
like-
fairly like a fairly recent thing?
yeah, probably in the, like 5 years or so, it's been
Really?
kind of coming onto the market, so it's a pretty, and I don't know if it was used in the shoe industry before that, we just never saw it, but it's been kind of a recent thing
It's
that we
fairly
can buy.
new.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool when that started coming on the market. It was really, and then not this year, but last year when we went to the WISA show, they had the skins with the scales laid down, and I thought that was
pretty
way
cool.
Yeah,
cooler.
that was pretty neat.
Yeah, but they were still just really expensive, and we never really moved forward with the purchase of those. But those were really neat. And probably those turkey legs. That was pretty. When those
Okay.
little miniature legs came in, I was like, who would tan this? Like that seems
Yeah.
like a lot of work to
They
do
did
that.
look
Yeah.
pretty cool, like Rusty said. They were
Yeah.
when you finished them. But
Yeah. Ooh, the yak hides. We had those
Ooh.
people. That was actually pretty neat. We had the farmers from Colorado come through one time, and they do yak milk is like a thing.
Okay.
And then eventually, after the milking process is done, then they'll have it. They'll process the meat, and then they'll tan the hides. And like the tails on the yaks were just really
That's
pretty cool.
That
They
was
were
pretty-
black and sleek, and then this long, fluffy
Yeah.
like dog tail.
Okay.
It was
All
pretty
right.
cool. So that was we bought, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 of those hides.
yeah, I forgot about the yaks.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Have we ever had bullfrog?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
had frog quite a bit.
We got a lot of frog from
King
Australia. The
Can
king
still
toad.
get it, but I don't know, it's getting expensive anymore. Everything.
Yeah, it was like $25 for like a skin this
Yeah.
big, and you're just like, yeah. So
I think for me, it was a customer that I've worked with before.
Crystal emailed me. I don't know what it is. We'll have
He
to
went-
get back with you.
to a safari, a hunting safari down in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and he came back with a full giraffe hide.
Oof.
And I mean, just to see the length on this creature was huge. Took up 2 giant tables out on retail. It was pretty neat to see.
Chris and I went to Toronto in like 2017 or 2018, and we toured. There is that mansion in Toronto where they shoot all the X-Men, like the
Oh, yeah.
X-Men house
Like
is shot up
Charles
there.
Xavier's house.
Yeah, and so that mansion is up there, and you can tour it. And one of the rooms had like some sort of a tiger lion hide that was like the full mount claws, like face, mouth, everything on like a rug. That was pretty cool.
Huh.
It was. I think it was pretty old. It was a pretty old piece.
Yeah, I don't think
I
you
know
can
how much
just
you can
go
do that
buy
anymore.
Tiger hide now.
But
Well, Kevin, let's get into the nitty gritty, I guess.
This is changing subjects, isn't it? I can tell.
Alright. So what, as far as when you started a small business, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced then? And what are some of the biggest challenges we faced now and throughout the years?
Well, then, in all honesty, it wasn't too challenging. Money was a big challenge, but I was able to come up with that. And people. People have always been probably one of the biggest challenges to a business, whether it was back then or today, because it's hard to find good people. You have to hire X number of people to get one good one. And I don't know what the ratio is. Chris might know, but I think you hire 4 and you get one that you can keep.
yeah, it's a lot. I think there was one year where we were sitting in about 90 employees, and we went through about 90 employees in 1 year.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
It can be tough. Like, it can be really tough sometimes to find people that want to work, that fit the culture.
Probably, it wasn't so much of a challenge for me because I always ran my Tandy store like it was mine. But a lot of people that find themselves in position of being a manager of a business, they don't run it like it was theirs.
Mm-hmm.
They just run it for the company, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's totally different when it comes to starting and running your own business than it is managing a business. Mm-hmm. It's just totally different, and that became starkly apparent when Tandy closed its store system, and all these store managers thought they're just going to be really cool, and all of a sudden they have their own store. And they don't realize you have to have relationships with vendors. Mm-hmm. You have to have money, and all this and that and the other thing. And I had the relationship with those vendors, at least to some degree, mm-hmm. not to the degree I do now, but we had it. We knew. I met Tandy had something they called a Tandy Fair one year in Las Vegas, and what they did was they charged a whole bunch of their primary vendors a bunch of money to come to this venue and meet all the store managers. And some of the vendors were pretty ticked off about that because they realized after the show that Tandy just charged them a bunch of money to meet a whole bunch of people that couldn't really buy anything.
Oh.
Because Tandy had to buy it.
Yeah.
But see, I was special.
Always.
I could buy stuff. I could buy stuff because I'd been with the company for kind of a long time, and I had this relationship and a reputation of being able to sell what I bought. Mm-hmm. So I would call up purchasing in the Tandy corporate office and address the person and say, hey, such and such a company has got this and that and the other thing. I'd like to buy 500 feet. Okay. It was just that simple. And it went that way for years. So anyway, I met Cinema Leather. I met Kamali Leather. Mm-hmm. I met Milton Sokol. And these are Herman Oak. Oh my goodness. I met Tustin in Great Britain, the famous people that make kid skins. I can't remember their name. Tustin something or other. No, I didn't meet the Hyde House there, but I met the Barber Thread Company. There several American Thread Company. Just a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And so when Tandy closed, I just called those people. They were all beside themselves because they didn't know, wow, I mean, this company bought millions of feet of leather over the course of a year. What are we going to do? And all the stores are going. I said, well, you can sell some to me. And basically all I had to do was convince them that I had a viable business and was going to pay.
Right.
And that's what happened. So that made my life pretty easy. But for somebody else that's starting their own business, depending on the kind of business that they have, not having those vendor relationships is going to turn out to be one big headache for them, at least potentially. Yeah. And if they can resolve that, or maybe they don't need those vendor relationships. Maybe they can buy everything they need at Jack's hardware store and run their business. But that's the big thing.
I say, even for you in that situation, you had kind of been in front of these people for at least a little while, so they were familiar with you to an extent.
Oh, they were familiar with me because I had bought things from them. I had to call Tandy to get permission to order from them, so they know. And Tandy wasn't going to have Cinema Leather ship leather to them and then they ship it to me.
Okay.
Tandy just called Steve and said, hey, ship this X amount of whatever Kevin's talking to you about and ship it directly to him.
Yeah.
So we got to know each other, and a lot of these people called me. You know, Milton Sokol, back in the day, that guy had a warehouse full of printed scrap. Oh, I mean, he had a warehouse full of it. It was like a lot.
Sounds like
Like
a situation that we could be in with some ostrich.
Yeah, he had a bunch, that's for sure. So I got to know Joe Sokol, and he got to know me and know that I could sell that stuff to the inmate customer base that we had. And wow, I was talking to him pretty regular and discovered that, hey, he had odd lot stuff and other things. And that, man, when Tandy was selling their oil tans for, now this was back a ways, but when they were selling it for $3 and $4 and $5 a square foot, I was able to sell it for $2 a square foot because I'd bought up half a pallet from Milton Sokol or someone else. And the price was much less because they needed to get rid of it, and Tandy couldn't deal with it.
Right.
What are they going to do with a half a pallet of something? They had 300 stores or whatever. And
Right.
it didn't work. So anyway,
But it worked for Kevin.
That kind of leads into the next question. There is, how did you handle competitors that first year?
well,
Well, actually, I'm kind of curious how many other Tandy managers had tried to start up that you're aware of their own little stores that maybe had fizzled out, especially by
well,
this
at
point.
the time, there was a excuse me, there was a Tandy manager who had gotten fired, if I remember correctly, or maybe he just quit. But I think he got fired, and he was a good manager. You know, he had a good business going out in Utah, the place where there's only 5 customers.
That's Idaho.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the same.
Anyway, he ran a very good business based on, it was pretty much camp-oriented business, Boy Scouts and what have you. And he had his own clicker press, and he would cut out shapes, and he sold some leather and this and that and the other thing. And he was doing okay. But all the Tandy stores were still in business. So he was basically just operating on the customer base that he had accrued during the time he was with Tandy. He just wasn't with Tandy anymore, but he still had his own store and all the customers. So that's what he was doing. He was doing okay. And then as the Tandy store started to shut down, one, there was several others that tried to take off on their own. And I really hadn't had time at that particular point to see if they were being successful or not, because that's when we made the deal with Tandy to buy the inventory and talked with the landlord so that we could keep this location, and we went forward. So the only competitors I only had like one.
Yeah.
And that was Tandy Warehouse. And, you know, when we first opened, I thought we could buy from Tandy Warehouse and then resell. But when we tried that, the first order I placed with Tandy, I mean, I ordered every week from Tandy as a store manager. Every week. It was just part of the routine. Stuff came in, we sold it, made the money, and put the money in the bank for Tandy. Well, when we got on our own and I ordered supplies from Tandy, oh my word, the price had changed dramatically. And I realized, we can't do this.
Yeah.
And I had several things at the time that were absolutely critical to our business. One was 3 to 4 ounce leather,
Mm-hmm.
and by extension, 2 to 3 and 4 to 5 and 5 to 6 and blah, blah, blah. But 3 to 4 ounce leather was a huge, huge deal. So I called Milton Sokol. They were willing to sell me smaller quantities. And it was a trial program. It worked quite well. We went from small quantities to large quantities. And I'm thinking, okay, Tandy has got this relationship with their tanneries that they've had for years. They can buy it for X amount. Why are they selling it for so stupidly much money when you don't have to? So we just priced everything leather-wise fairly significantly below them. That was how I dealt with that competitor. The other thing was Phoebings. You have to have Phoebings products. We did the same thing. I just called Phoebing and said, hey, I'd like to buy the stuff. And I got it in and realized, my gosh, Tandy's got to be paying this price or less.
Yeah.
So we priced it accordingly, and it did not take very long at all to find everything from tools to wherever, because now George Hurst, hide crafter, he had gone out, he had gotten fired, and he went out and started his own business called Hide Crafter. And he was able to, I hate to use the word be successful, because he was not, but he was able to fake it for a couple of years. And that's a lot of water under the bridge, and there's a lot of story there that I don't need to be telling, and people don't really need to know that aspect of that business. But George was a great guy, and he had done the same thing pretty much. He was just pricing things to enable him to get a good share of the business. And I said that Tandy was my main competitor, and that's not true. It was Tandy was the main one, but the leather factory was also there, and it was all the same. They didn't have to sell things at the incredible markup that they did, but they did, and so it enabled me to just slide in under. I didn't have the tremendous overhead that they did. That enabled us to survive and go forward, and plus, I had the advantage. This was like being born with a silver spoon in your mouth, I guess you could say. I had the advantage of having all those Tandy stores closing and dropping off like flies. I was the only one left, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you could switch. A lot of people could switch their business to the leather factory. I'm sure some did, but a lot of them were mad. They were mad, and they wanted the Tandy products. I was the place where they could get them.
So was the leather crafter, did they only have like a warehouse that they fulfilled from, or did they have physical locations?
Tandy just had a warehouse. That's what they went down to.
Okay.
And the leather factory had a number of stores. It wasn't very many.
Okay.
And so
So it wasn't as plural, like, as Tandy
Yeah.
had been.
But anyway, as far as competition went, they did not take me very seriously at all, which was quite happy. We also very quickly established relationships with Chinese vendors,
Mhm.
and we were able to, and also American metal products manufacturers. We had a relationship with those really quickly. I stumbled onto one of those out on the East Coast in the early days of I guess, it wasn't computers necessarily, but in the early days of communicating by computer. At least it was early for me.
The early email days.
And so we got in contact with one of them, and he had been asking online if anybody knew what was going on with Tandy. And I told him, yeah, I did. And so we had this conversation back and forth, and we ended up being able to have all the hardware that Tandy had,
Mhm.
just all of it. And at prices far lower than what we were able to have them before. So that worked out pretty good.
And we also had the ability. Did you start selling by the square foot in the beginning, or did that
Yes.
kind of come off?
We did, and I had to change my opinion after that. One of the biggest things that we did differently, I see that on your notes there, was we allowed our customers to buy any size of a piece of leather that they wanted. That was a big deal for our inmate customer base.
Sure.
A big deal. And I gave that secret away to a lot of vendors. I told Weaver, I told Tandy, I told Leather Factory, I told, hey, you guys are missing the boat, because why are you forcing someone that has some money to spend almost all of that money on a side of leather when they don't want a side of leather? They want 3 square feet so they can make their and sell it and get their money, and then they can use that other money to buy whatever they need,
Tool.
a special tool or some more leather or whatever the case.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, did that work incredible. Just the inventory issues were astronomical
Yeah.
and still are. But, I always looked at the bottom line. What is this getting you? It got us customers, like a bunch, a whole bunch.
What would you say that if you were to start SLC, today?
Cool.
What the there's other places out there that sell leather by the foot now. There's other places that have kind of seemed to have taken that model and that page out of your book. But what do you think would be the biggest challenge as far as competition if you started it, tomorrow?
I have a little bit of a mental block there, having a hard time getting my head around walking away from this, closing it down, just close it, just no more Springfield leather, and then trying to start again. I mean, I've got so much experience and knowledge, I know what I would have to do. But as far as being a hurdle or a challenge, let's say if maybe there's a better way to put the question. If somebody else wanted to start Springfield leather today, I mean, if we had an earthquake and it swallowed up Springfield leather and the bank and everything else and it was all gone, somebody said, well, I can do that, and they decided they wanted to, they would have to overcome the challenge of money and vendor relationships and customer relationships. Because a customer has to have a reason to want to buy from you. It's nice if you're the only place they can buy something from. That's
Right.
kind of a sure thing, but that's not the case anymore because you can get online and whatever else. Doing business online tells most people in a rather speedy manner that customer service is important, and having a relationship with the company that you buy from is really important, because you're going to get stuck with something you don't want, or you didn't order, or don't need, or it's broken, and you've got to take care of that. A lot of the old Tandy managers, when they would get a customer service issue from an inmate, a letter, they wouldn't answer it. They'd throw it away. Just throw it away. Why deal with them? They're just an inmate. And it was a terrible situation. And it wasn't just one or two that did that. A lot of them did that. And, you know, any corporation has to have rules. You know, you have to have policies set for it. But when customers would come to you with a problem that was either not covered by policy, or maybe policy dictated to you that you handle it in a certain way, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that because they were being paid on an incentive basis by profit. And so they didn't care. You know, hey, I'm sorry, this is the way it's got to be.
Yeah.
If you don't like this, I'll take it back, but I won't give you your money back. You have to take something else.
Yeah.
Or something. If somebody said, if they would come to you, there was customers that said, my husband died. He's got about $100 worth of leather tools here, and I just don't need these things anymore. Can you help me out here?
Sure.
And they wouldn't do it. So that's mental attitude is probably the biggest hurdle or challenge that anybody that starts anything like this is going to face.
Yeah. And there is just so much more competition now, or just, I mean, the internet opened up the world to people. So when you started in 1999, the internet was a baby. There wasn't, it was word of mouth. You had the Leather Crafters Journal that you could advertise in. That's how people knew where to buy stuff, and they would call you.
You know,
That
we
was one of
probably
the
get,
last of the dinosaurs.
yeah, we
Yeah.
probably get people that would drive.
You are the last of the dinosaurs.
I'm getting close.
You would have people that would, I imagine, would probably drive from a very, long ways away to come to Springfield Leather to get what they needed.
Well, we have people that do that today.
Still, but I think, more so back then.
Maybe,
Because they were
well,
just the
probably.
closest place. We were the closest place to them.
Yeah. Nowadays, people are willing to drive simply because, we're a different place than we were 20 years ago. The area is a different place than it was 20 years ago. People can come here as a destination to see Bass Pro. I mean, Bass Pro is still a big deal in Springfield, Missouri, and
Well, yeah.
Springfield Leather isn't exactly the smallest dot on the map in Springfield, Missouri, because if they come to see Bass Pro, they're probably going to come to see us. And they're going to stop and they're going to go to Branson. They might go to Branson first. That might be their destination. But then they're going to take a day and go up and see Bass Pro and see Springfield Leather as long as we're here.
You know what I think the irony is that most people that live in Springfield don't really realize what Springfield Leather is unless you're crafty.
Yeah.
But they're so like the Bass Pro kind of people. I feel like your campers and your fishers and your hunters are kind of that more crafty subset of people that they're going to fix their own thing, or they've been looking for stuff. So that kind of like conglomeration of people. We have so many people that come from out of town, and they make us part of their trip across the country. Yeah. But then you have just people that drive down Gladstone every day, and they're like, "Oh, I see this place, and I never go in." And they come in here, and they're like, "What in the world is happening?"
So many people. I've talked to, friends of mine when I first started working here. They're like, "So what do you guys sell? Just like belts and stuff?" Like, oh, it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you really need to come and visit.
It's interesting because so many people have come to visit and say hi, and just they walk in and they're just drawn to the rocks, and they come over, even if they don't really like rocks.
Yeah.
Everybody likes shiny, pretty
Everybody
things.
likes a rock. Yeah. You just don't know you like rocks until you see the rocks that we have. Hey, Kevin, we Bob's Leather asked about how our logo came to be.
Well, Rusty and I don't remember who else maybe talked. Might have been Chris involved in that. I think we just talked about it one day and thought that was it.
Because really, it was just Springfield Leather for a long time, all written out. So, if you look at our old letterhead stuff, like our really old, it may have just been the oval with the SLC. But now, we have the stylized font that we use, and there's some specifics. We got a little fancy with it. But I feel like one day you just drew an oval, and
more of you guys that did that rather than me, because I wasn't too worried about it.
Where did the leather around the world?
Yeah, I think that's probably our first logo. Was the
it
world
had a globe on it.
Yeah,
yep. Yeah, that we did, and I like that.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Is there any history there? Just
touching base a little bit on that last question about being the biggest hurdle or challenge. The world we live in has a tendency to be angry, and I think there's a lot of people today that are distrustful of of many things, you know, and
I think business in general, a lot of people are mistrustful of
I
business
think
in general.
so. And
Because they've been treated like those people
yeah,
that
right.
just,
Rightly or wrongly, you know, that's something that is a hurdle or a challenge, or would be a hurdle or a challenge for anybody to overcome, because that takes a real special attitude. And that's a hard thing to come by. It goes back to that question, is the customer always right? You know, that's a hard thing to answer. The answer is yes. Even if they're wrong,
right,
they're still right. And even if it's going to cost you money, you got to fix this. And you got to fix it not begrudgingly.
right.
That's really hard sometimes for me. And there's been a couple of times where I have failed pretty miserably. But I don't feel too bad about it, because having been in business for this many years, I think I've only told 1 or 2 customers to take their business elsewhere.
Right.
And
Because most people, you can, if you treat them in the way that you are respecting the fact that even if they happen to be wrong in the situation, you are still here to make the problem as right as you can make it.
and that makes sense.
But if you have somebody that just won't let you,
well,
what are you supposed to do?
And that is the issue when you're trying your best and doing your best, and you know, it's easy to talk about that, but when you make a mistake once, that's one thing. If you make a mistake twice, you really should try to avoid making mistakes twice to a person who's not very nice. If you have an issue the 3rd time, and then that's when things start to get challenging, and then you try your absolute best to make sure that never happens again, and they order from you, and sure as the world, the end result is, why, Mr. Hopkins, are you so stupid? Do you not have the ability to run a business where you're able to get a product to your customer ever?
Yeah.
And on and on and on and on and on and on. Now, I think I went through about 6 issues with this person. I finally told him, you know, I'm sorry. I can't help you. I don't have what you need.
Yeah.
I just don't have what you need. You might try so-and-so. I don't want to buy from them.
I don't think you want to buy from us either.
Yeah. So anyway, it's really hard to keep that attitude and get over that.
Well, I think a lot of the times when people have an issue or a problem, and our office does a wonderful job of handling those.
We got great
those
people
cases
back
that
there.
come up.
Yeah.
I think the people that have that problem just want to be heard.
Yeah.
You know, they're frustrated about something else maybe.
You gotta listen.
They got the wrong product, and you know, and we understand that. We really do that.
Yeah.
Understand that kind of those issues arise, and we do our best to make it right no matter what. So.
Yep.
Yeah. They know that they have the ability to do whatever they need to do to try to fix the issue. And you just
Yeah,
gotta listen,
I
so.
so much appreciate the the customers that we have that are willing to work with us a little bit, because wow, this is a tough business when it gets to this level, because having people that can actually pull orders and fill orders, this is not like working in a hardware store where you go to a bin and pull a bolt and, you know, or something of a hard product.
Yeah.
This is like, you know, I went to Sutherland's across the street the other day. I needed to buy 3 nuts to fit 3 bolts. And they've got this wall of nuts and bolts, nuts and bolts, nuts and bolts. It's 4 feet high and got about 8 bins in a row, and there's 40 feet of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you tell me that every customer that picks those nuts and bolts out of
Puts
there
them back in the same
puts them
spot.
back in the same spot. Well, obviously they don't.
Right.
But they don't care about that, because they don't have to go and pull a certain number of those bolts from a bin with this number on it. They don't have to go do that for a customer that's out of town.
Yeah.
Because if they did, they would pull some wrong nuts and bolts. Well, it's the same way here, except we have to do that So when you get a concho or something that's sitting next to all those other conchos, or a snap that's sitting next to all those other snaps, it's easy to walk up there and just go, okay, I need 6. There they are. Put them in a bag. You're good to go. When in reality, somebody put one in the wrong bin.
Yeah.
So we've got to have order fillers that can take that into account.
Yeah.
That's not as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also, we empower our employees to really make a decision. Because
That's
you're
the
right.
trick.
There's a lot of things that, there's a lot of different X factors and a lot of different variables that come across when we're filling an order. And just having that product knowledge to be like, well, we're out of this, but we can substitute this. And
That's something that's really hard for me to let go of, especially with the leather, because, I guess the prime example would be our oil tan sides.
Mm-hmm.
We sell an oil tan side for $20, and it's supposed to be between 10 and 13 square feet. Then we sell one for 30, and that's supposed to be from 13 to whatever, 16 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I've got a pallet this high of oil tan sides. There is a whole lot of leather on that pallet, like a lot, and some of it is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an order for a $20 side. I've got this piece that's 16 feet instead of the 10 to 13, but the end of it it's got something nasty on it.
Yeah.
Just nasty. I would like to think a customer would be thrilled to get a piece of leather that's several square feet bigger, even if a little part is not usable. Or maybe I will send them sometimes an 18-foot piece for $20, but it's got a hole in the belly area, a big one.
Yeah.
I
just hope you guys realize that Kevin still rolls all of our miscellaneous oil tan sides. He sits back there with Jana, and they still physically roll them up and label them and put them in the bin to be sold.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I will tell you, we got in a batch of oil tan just a little while ago. It was really unique. It's pretty, in my opinion, but it's got some issues. But we have a deal where we sell 2 oil tans for, what is it, $69,
Okay.
and you're supposed to get anywhere from 26 to 32 feet.
Okay.
I put some rolls that had 44 square feet in them.
So get those right now.
44 square feet, and some had 35, 38, 39, a lot of it. But the bellies look kind of wrinkledy and not so good, or something else was the matter with the hides. But I got to get rid of them.
Right.
Now I get
And otherwise, like, Kevin could just cut off the weird part. But frankly, if like leather crafters get leather, they can cut through blemishes. They can cut around things.
You can use that. If you get a wrinkled up piece of belly oil tan, my gosh, I could use it if I was a crafter. I would put it on the back of something, or line something with it, whatever. Anyway,
Make a cool flappy purse.
yeah. The way that we think here is unique, and it's carried out in such a manner that's assuming that our crafters are understanding, and most of our customers are.
well, thanks, Kevin.
You're very welcome.
Do we have any questions that popped up, Liz?
Well, the last one was kind of about what is the deal that we have with prisons.
Oh,
Um,
well, prisons, I don't mind answering that. Most prisons, larger ones, they have craft shops that an inmate can qualify to get into. There'll be a wood shop, or a metal shop, or a leather craft shop, furniture, all that stuff. The ones that get into the leather craft shop, we're able to provide supplies to them. And, for inmates, one thing is they don't have a lot of money.
Right.
Which you can understand that.
Yeah, some facilities have very strict rules about how much an inmate, even if their family members could provide them all the money to buy all the things. Some facilities are only like, you can spend $300 a quarter, or $100 a month, or whatever that it is.
Well, and like some federal institutions, they allow an inmate to order once a month.
Mm-hmm.
He can spend $300. That's the most he can spend. And he has to pay the institution 35% or 30% of whatever he orders. He has to pay them that out of his fund. So, it's, they're left with tough circumstances to work in. And the inmates, it kind of goes like this, for quite a few of them. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm finally settled in where I'm going to be for the next 5 years. I've qualified to get into the craft shop. And in order to do that, I have to have this, and that. I have to be able to buy this, and that. I have to get in and carry on. I've got a month to do that. Can you send me enough money to do that?
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, I'm straightening out my life, and I've turned to the Lord, and I'm just everything else, that they're going to tell them. Well, Mom and Dad generally send them the money to get started. And some of those inmates, they get off and running the best that they can. The other inmates help them that have experience, and they do leather work, and they sell it. They sell it to the guards, the prison officials. They sell it in the the commissary. They sell it in the visitors' room.
Some facilities even have like craft fairs.
Yes, they have
where families come in and
big
can,
ones.
yeah.
And they'll send their finished products to their family on the outside. Their family sells it, and they send the money back in. So it's a business, there's a business there. And we've finally, over the years, we've gotten to the point where we're the vendor of choice for prisoners. And they appreciate that because it's the leather world. You're going to have problems. We're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to ask for something we don't have, and we don't have choice. We can't just call them, say, hey, inmate, connect me with inmate Jones. We can't do that. So we got to make a choice, either send them something or nothing.
Yeah.
And I am always, 95% of the time, going to send them something. And if they get it and say, Kevin, they write me a letter full of bullets and knives, and they said, Kevin, I didn't order this. Or they'll have their mother call, or their father call, or their uncle, or their brother. Kevin, John ordered this, and you guys sent him this and that and the other thing. What happened? Number one, there should have been a note in there explaining that.
Right.
Well, they didn't see that. The craft shop supervisor must have took that, or it got lost. Whatever. Okay. Well, we sent that because we didn't have what he wanted. We didn't want him to have nothing. Right. So we made the decision to send this. If that won't work, all you got to do is tell me what I can do, and I'll take care of it for you.
Yeah.
Goes back to that hurdle and challenge.
Man, I was so grateful. A few weeks ago, we came in on a Monday, and we had, needed some help in gathering. And so I went back to help. And like the only order that I pulled that whole day was an inmate that their craft shop supervisor had emailed in and was talking to Angela. And it was a whole bunch of fire polish beads.
Oh.
And I just spent forever looking at that fire polish wall trying to find, and I found it was 8 different colors of fire polish. We had 5 or 6 of them. We were missing 2 of them, but we had an email address. So I was able to email the craft shop supervisor. I sent pictures, I sent options, and guys, these are $2 strands of beads. $2 strands of beads. So for a $4 purchase, I sent all of these things. But anyways, the inmate got what he wanted. I sent some options. They got back with me. We got him the stuff to make whatever it is that he was making. And
the bottom
but
line.
that's what we do. I spent 4 hours for a $22 order.
Well, that's crazy. We lost money hand over fist on that.
We didn't make any money.
But
there.
the bottom line is Springfield leather is a thing. It's just a thing. And because of service like that and the attitude that we all have and the people that we've accumulated that have been able to learn to think the way that we all think, man, this place works.
Yeah.
There's hard times because of the economy and whatever and COVID and all this other stuff, but we get through those things, and hopefully we'll just continue getting through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we will. Well, I think we're about out of time.
And I have an announcement before we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah? Do you have a thing?
Well, you could make this available to anybody. Maybe you
That's
could
great.
include
Good
this
recipe.
National Leather Day. You could use this as incentive.
They get a recipe.
If you buy something, you get one of these, and it's really valuable. There's people that would pay
It's the
money
dip,
for this.
isn't it?
Kevin updated his cheese dip recipe.
Oh, this is just so amazingly good.
It's really good cheese dip. Actually, maybe I should make that one of these days. Again, I've made some in the past. You know, he brings in a piece of paper, but he won't, for the life of him, bring in the actual dip for us to eat.
He just provides the instructions. It's up
What
to
is
you.
Becky doing? Tell her to make some dip.
He's busy.
All right, so for the announcement, so we finally, I think this past week, right, Justin?
Yep.
This past week, we finally hit 50,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Whoa.
So thank you to everybody that has subscribed to us over the years. 50,000 is awesome. Unfortunately, it's only halfway to actual YouTube recognition because apparently there's a lot of people in the world and 50,000 just isn't a big enough number for them. But in a few weeks, we will be, I think it's the 11th of August. Denny will be in here and we're going to make our own YouTube play button out of leather to commemorate our 50,000 viewers on, or 50,000 subscribers for YouTube. And from this point, I think maybe
25th.
yeah, it was a couple days ago that Justin posted it. We're going to be entering everybody that comments on a YouTube video. So whether that's our video right here or a short that we post, if you comment on the video, you will be entered to win the Voyager backpack that Clayton made a year ago or
Oh, that's
more.
really nice.
This is a wonderful backpack. It is made with this awesome SB Foot navy nubuck leather along with Herman Oak heritage.
It's got rocks in it.
It's got jasper. It's got picture jasper up in here. It's a beautiful bag. So you will only be entered once. So, I mean, please comment as much as you'd like because that's good for things. But
So would it help if I subscribe to YouTube?
it sure would. You should do that. You could be entered to win the bag.
You'll have to show me how. No, I can't win the bag. Oh,
So-
fishy.
In any case, we will give it away on August 11th when we do our little play button video with Denny. It's going to be a lot of fun. So leave us a comment. Tell us that you love us because we love you guys. We appreciate everything that you spend your time with us. It's really incredible to have such an amazing community out there. But anyways, enter yourself to win that. Let's see here. I think, U.S. entries only. Sorry, everybody.
I'm posting all the official rules and regulations and all that stuff on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, so Justin will be getting all of that together and posting it. Yeah, so anyways, thank you to everybody that has subscribed. We really appreciate you.
We're off.
That's it.
All right.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Thanks. Oh.